Hello, compassionate souls. We're ready to take another step in this journey on the compassionate listener. Today, we're going to be looking at class 104, which is the self-love for all ages. And what I really like about this program is, again, this work is for all ages, but we're really going to be looking at the love that we have for self when it starts. We're going to be looking at all these psychological pieces of it, along with just like the fun aspect of self-love. Because when you are in love with yourself, in love with everything around you, holding up that unconditional love vibration gets a lot easier. So we're going to jump into this program today. So let me just share my screen with everyone. And I'm getting much better at this, as we can see. Slideshow presentation. All right, we're going to start from the beginning. I'm going to try to keep this to the 60 minutes or less. And the reason I try not to push through these topics is if we need to do topics later and like specialize in each one, we can. But I want this to be something that can be seen everywhere. And that's why I try to make it a little fuller. So you can cut and use just parts of these if you want. So my PhD is in metaphysical counseling and sciences. And the majority of all my work is done in language, frequency, vibration. We talk about wave, particle, but all of it comes down to having the best life we can through the energy work. So thank you for your time and interest. So let's begin our show. So let me put just a little here. So self-love for all ages. I am Dr. Barb Tremlett and Soul Solutions, and this is one of our programs, Compassionate Listener. So here's the big thing. See this, we've got to hug ourselves. We've got to love ourselves. We must love ourselves and that vibration to really begin to appreciate who we are, how we came here, what we're presenting in the world. We came of love, and we're here to serve others. And serving others when we're not feeling good about ourselves and not serving ourselves first, we can get depleted. So we're all here to live in love and to live in this beautiful earthly environment. And we need to start with ourselves. So that being said, the definition of self-love is being in love with every part of yourself, your body, and your personality, and knowing that you are number one. And we're going to actually go through a little bit of, how do we get started, right? For those of us that feel challenged by the statements, like, how do we get started on this? So first of all, I'd say, how do you talk to yourself? Do you have good comments? Are you talking in a positive tone, or are you aggravated? And then if you are aggravated, is it really you talking, or is it somebody from your past talking to you? Is there something that's in those words that are not really your words, but you're repeating it? Are you taking care of your physical body? Are you nurturing your skin? Remember, your skin is your biggest organ. It holds all of your other stuff in and keeps you all together. Your skin is something special, and it needs to be taken care of. So your physical body has so many things going on. Are you taking care of that? We have whole other videos on other physical, the water and the breathing and all that. But it's important to know that if you're not taking care of your physical body, then your mental and emotional body, you're not going to do well in the long run either. And are you grateful and thankful for all the wonderful things in your life? Because there is great stuff everywhere if we stay in the power of now, the moment of now, and look around us. Everything is just this little miracle. They're everywhere. And do you know what you want in your own life? Maybe not necessarily a strategic plan, but what turns you on? What's your calling? What's your passion? What do you want to learn? I didn't realize when I was in college and I was struggling because I had learning disabilities. I didn't understand how far I would go with this learning thing. Like every day I craved to learn more. My body is like, what's new today? What's new today? So, we kind of need to know what we want in life. And I know I'm going to be a permanent student of life, and along with teaching and sharing with other people. But what do you want to do in your life? It's important that you know that. And do you take the time to give yourself a high energy, high vibration? Do you take the time to dance or to listen to music that really soothes your soul, or to eat nurturing foods that are sensual, that can raise your vibration, or hug people, or maybe spend quality time in deep conversation? Do you do things to raise your vibration on purpose? And then, do you know how amazing you are? Everybody is so unique and so amazing. And I just think most people don't have a clue of how spectacular they are. So, realizations. And I don't like just reading from the slides. I really want you to feel my words. And some of these I do want to read the slides because I want to make sure I don't miss any of the points. So, realizations, we do not need to compare ourselves to other people. And I think that has been since childhood. There's always a competition and a comparing and racing, and just always, he makes more money than me. So we're not here to compare ourselves with anybody else. And we don't need to worry what other people think of us. I know there are a lot of people out there that don't like me. They're not crazy about me or what I do or the spirituality or the representation, and I don't care. I'm not here to live up to somebody else's expectations. The universal light and I are one, and as long as I'm in that space, I'm perfectly happy with that. I don't care what people think. You got to be kind to yourself. You got to allow for mistakes. We all make mistakes. None of us are perfect. But when you make those mistakes, you have to work through it and then forgive yourself and move on. And mistakes are normal. That's how we know we're growing. If you're not making any mistakes, then you're not growing. You're not pushing yourself out there. You're not expanding. And your value is deeper than the way your body works. Meaning some people are more into the physical pieces of the actual body rather than the spiritual pieces or the emotional pieces. So our value is much deeper than our physical body and being able to go work 9 to 5. We're much deeper than that. Also realization of, you have no fear with toxic people, because once you learn to pull in that energetic, that the energy into yourself and expand the energy out from yourself, once you learn this and you truly own it, you don't need to worry about toxic people. They can only get to you or take from you or affect you if you allow it. And the more powerful you get, the more you realize, I don't got to allow this. We're done with that. And then when you have fears, walk through and release your fears. As you find them, you find them, sometimes they're bouncing around and you hear yourself say something, and probably it's not your words, it's repeating, or it's something vibrating in the ethers. But walk through and release your fears that you find in those thoughts. So if you find a fear and you're like, what's that about? Grab it, pull it forward and say, what is this fear about? My fear about snakes. I know I had the fear because I fell in a bed of snakes when I was a small child, and it traumatized me. But when I see a snake now, I say, why do you have fear of that? And so I'm able to bring my energy back into the level it needs to be at, but I address my fears. And it could be about people talking bad about you or the things going on in the world. But grab it and say, is this really in my face? Is this really something I need to deal with? Because most fears are not real. They're imagined. So we need to think about that. And then trust that you are a good decision maker and you got this, right? You got this. And no matter what anybody else says, you still got this. And so we work on this together. You want to create and live your dreams. We don't want to wait to say in 10 years, I'm going to do this. Start working on your dreams now. And the dream can be little. The dream could be to go on a vacation or start a garden, learn how to ride a bike. It could be a little thing. It could be to paint a picture, learn how to make stained glass, learning a new topic. So it's really important to get in there and do your dreams. I'm living so many of my dreams. I'm just so grateful. I don't even know what the next thing is I want to create. I'm just so grateful for everything that I'm living right now. And making sure that you're first. Yes, we have parents' responsibilities of taking care of our children, and we know these things. But when you're getting up in the morning and you're waking up and you're laying in that bed, making sure that you think of you first. You feel grateful for everything you have. You feel gentle in your bed, laying in your sheets. You feel so relaxed. Like you need to nurture and love yourself first. And we'll obviously cover more of that in here in the presentation. You want to feel your feeling deeply and understand yourself. So when I'm confused about something, I go into my feelings, like, oh, why do you feel that way? Like, for example, in the Hicks scale of emotions. So if you're feeling frustrated, then you're going to say, well, why do I feel frustrated? And when you're looking, you might say, you know what, I know I'm frustrated. It's like this person keeps saying they're going to do something with me and they don't. So the frustration. So go in when you find those emotions that are off, grab it and say, what is that? What's creating this emotion in me? And not that you're going to change it or berate it, but if you understand it, then it's easier to release it. Because if you keep thinking, I'm frustrated over and over again, you're going to have more frustrations and the vibration in your body's going to be thrown off. So we want to understand why we have it. So it's easier to say, okay, yeah, I can work on that, or I let go of that. And when you're out there, stand tall, stand in your truth. I know what we've been through in the last 4 to 5 years has not been easy, but it's taught a lot of us, like, it's time for you to stand up and tell the truth. It's time for you to be the powerhouse that you came here to be. And there are times in situations, I have a narcissist in my life and I can't stand in my truth and my words with that person. Though I stand in my truth, I'm very careful about how I say it, but I still have to be strong. So some of it's not always easy. Sometimes we just want to avoid it. But in general, stand up for your truth. Are you a spiritual person? Do you believe a lot of things going on in school systems are wrong and some needs to represent your children? Are you that person that needs to go now and be verbal? Don't be afraid to stand up for the truth. Don't be afraid to stand up for what's right. And when you see good, it's really important to see good in everyone, everything, each moment, because when we see the good, we bring the more of the good out. And when we focus on the negativity, then that is the highlight. So if we're practicing and bringing out and noticing and recognizing, realizing the goodness in everybody around us, vibrationally speaking, it keeps you much healthier. It keeps you much stronger in your power. And it's not to say there aren't things that need to be fixed. Absolutely are. But our job is not to be the judge and jury on those things. Our job is to just keep putting the love out. Remember, we're learning how to be high vibrational beings right now. We're not learning, the negativities of the world. We're learning how to be so powerful, so strong, and so magical. Nothing can stop us. And these are the tools we need to realize we've got to be in love at every moment possible. So when does the love journey begin, right? Well, obviously, when you're born, this little baby, everybody's holding you, they're adoring you, and oh my gosh, this is so awesome. So you're being loved at birth. It's easy, this innocence, this newness coming into the world. And then as the children age, they get in the 1 to 7 range. This is the most important ages of when they begin to develop their belief systems, and their personalities become much stronger. So we gain our deepest self-love through these years, and we begin to start to have our little inklings of what, like one of the coolest things when you got a little child is when you say to them, what do you want to be when you grow up? And now I guess there's a lot of tainting going on and what media has and stuff like that. This used to be the way we did it when I was little. And it's funny because I wanted to be a teacher. Ironic, huh? But that development is hugely important from 1 to 7. So we'll touch on that a little bit later. The teenage years, the peer pressure can really bring anyone that's not strong down, and that can be really difficult being a teenager and the peer pressure. But there's pieces to that. And in adulthood, we start to have our confidence. We love to create successes in any way we can. We're creating our legacy. We're beginning to understand the power of what we have and the depth of what we have and all these different interests in the world and things we can do. And when we become more into maturity, now we're speaking our truth. Now we're standing more up for our glory. We know who we are. We know our person. We don't have to still search for who we are. We're understanding that. And then when we're elderly, this love journey. And this is where we step back and we say, okay, I'm going to allow you guys to do the work and do what you're needing to do. But I'm here to express anything to you about my experience, my expertise, what I've learned on my journey. Now that elderly person, they stand back and they become like the counselor for the tribe or the shaman. And so we go through these stages of our journey while we're here. And the thing about with extremes, especially with the teenagers and adulthood in those years there, if we have a lack of self-confidence, less self-awareness or self-love, we tend to be more quieter. We don't give our opinion. Maybe our body language is, leaned over, looking down. When we have that lack of confidence, we don't present fully in the world. But when we are loving ourselves and we have this desire to be healthy and to be there, it's not an outside thing. It's like we have confidence. We step into, I'm really good at sports, or I'm really good at this. And you could see those kids, they have total confidence. And then you see the other stage where they're bravado, they're egoic, they're taking pictures of themselves. They're telling the world how great they are. That's also a lack of self-confidence. When you're out there exaggerating yourself to everybody and having to have constant pictures taken to validate yourself, then there's a lack of self-confidence there too. If you're overly loving and pronouncing yourself to the world. So that middle range is, we laugh, we have a good time. We take pictures in a group or whatever, but it's not that, that lack of I don't matter, that, the low vibration, and it's not the over egoic. So there's that middle range of self-confidence that we aim for. And that biggest range of depth usually is between the teenage years and the young adulthood in that area. And usually by maturity, you've given up that piece and you're pretty much in that middle piece, the middle area there. So the important thing is the self-love, right? It's the important thing. So the importance of self-love is your first relationship is with yourself, and its foundation of relationship with others. Loving yourself enables you to live in alignment with your values and to make happy, healthy choices in your everyday decisions. Confidence, self-respect, self-worth, and self-love they're all interconnected. So again, self-respect, self-worth, and self-love are all interconnected. And as we deepen our love with ourselves, we can deepen the love that we share with others. So this hugging of self, this loving of self, and it all works together, is self, empowerment, respect, worth, kindness, compassion, forgiveness, care, and love. All for self first, and then you can open your arms and to serve the world. So one of the things I do with my clients a lot is we play a little game called the ABCs. I know some of you already have heard me talk about this before, and it's so fun to do. I've done it with teenagers in the United States when I lived in New Hampshire. I've done it with nursing students. Sometimes I've done it with friends and family because it's just fun to do. So we make a list of ABCs, and next to each letter, as it shows here, we write down a word that's positive, and that we feel we live in, we resonate. It describes us. So when we're doing this, it's a word we can own. Is that a good way of putting it? So for me, I'm appreciative, I'm articulate. So those are words that I would put down for me. If I'm athletic, then I maybe would put athletic. So finding a word that matches your vibration and you can own. Beautiful, bold, for B, compassionate, courageous. There's just so many words that you might describe you. And so what this does is we make this little list and we write down these words, and you can do A through Z, but there'll be some letters a little harder, like the X and the Z. But in general, if you can get at least one, and then if you're, going throughout your day and you think of something else, then go back and put it on your list. So the point on how to do the ABCs is this. Now stay away from generalized words like fabulous, amazing, dynamic. So you want to stay away from generalized words as you can, generalized. And then think of a time when you were successful, and with this word, and describe the way you felt at the time. Let's say you did a really good job at work, and when you got done, you just felt so good about it. Describe how that felt. I felt intelligent. I felt connected. I felt compassionate. Describe the words, the words that describe how you felt when you were in that success. So name that feeling and feel it. And then how did you feel? Like, what were the words that described you in that? And after the list is created, this is really cool. After the list is created, and you want to do it a few times, like, so we'll do it and then I'll keep adding words to it later. But if you've got a lot of words, it's really cool because then you can look at it and you can see the themes. So like when I was doing my theme, I had smart, intelligent, I had words to do with brilliance. I had to do, so my strength or my theme was where my confidence area is, so it's the intelligence. So when you look at the list of words and you begin to see like a few of the same theme come out in different places. And this one was like a wise or rich, wealthy, prosperous. If you see all those words, then that's pretty much like going to be a thing that you have as a strength. Our confidence. If you see enthusiastic, passionate, eager, and these are all great words. And so it just shows you kind of where your confidence area is. And then look for words that are less than positive or can be taken in a negative way, and then challenge that word. So I've had a conversation with someone who wants to do this with kids, and she used a word. I'm not going to use the word she did, but it was most of us would look at it as a negative. But then with the way she described it, it was kind of a slang. It was a slang is what it was. A slang, which most of us go, that's not cool. But the slang that it was representing was a positive. So it's kind of funny to do that anyway, right? So you're going to write for each letter, you're going to write a word or more than one. I prefer to do 2 or 3. So just kind of get you in that space. That's positive, describes you, it resonates, you feel it, it feels like the truth. And then this is the game that you play with yourself. So I encourage you to take a break, write down right now a little bit ABC, and just take a minute to do a few of them, or note this exercise later in when you're done, because I find a lot of value in this. And if you really can't get through this exercise, then maybe it's time to focus a little more on your own self-love so you can remember who you are and why you're here. So this is a reminder that love is an inside job. And mentally, your power, your intelligence, your own destiny, and no human can convince you you're less than. This is when you're in love with yourself. It's inside job. This is mentally how you're feeling about yourself. You can always improve. We can always improve. But if you're in there doing your best and you got an idea where you want to go, no human is going to be able to take that away from you. Physically, if you're out there when you're loving yourself, you're being proactive physically in your care, you're controlling your surroundings, you're living in a clean environment. That's how your self-love for your physical. Emotionally, you're speaking words that are powerful and truthful. And when you feel your way in life, emotionally, you're feeling this energetic powerfulness. And when you do boundaries and protections, it's only because in the moment you may need something, but in general, you don't need that, because you're so beautifully bringing this light in and pushing this energy out and surrounding yourself with this powerfulness that you don't have the need for the boundaries and protections as much, because your own self-power is so deep that effect is not the same anymore. That's not to say there aren't times where you still put up your boundaries and you put your protections, but you become so automated in this beautiful energy that you're pulling in and pushing out, the need isn't there as much anymore. And when you're spiritually and energetically in love with yourself and taking care of yourself, you absolutely know that you're a spark of light. You know that you can do anything and create anything anytime you want. And you're constantly part of the divine plan and the divine energy. And you also know that you're a magical creator. And I'm really hopeful that everybody's listening these programs understands you are a magical creator. And when you fall in love with yourself and you allow yourself to bloom out in your fullness, you're going to be realizing how powerful that statement is. Self-love is not, okay? There's the list that it's not motivation. Motivation is an outside job. Inspiration is an inside job. Self-love is inside. It's not a motivation. Self-love is not egoic. No, we are like, none of us are better than the other. We're all these spiritual high people, but I'm no better than the person next to me. And so also love is not subservient to other human beings. Yes, we are in service to others, and that's part of our love and our goal, but we don't bow down to others. There's a difference between being subservient and slave and serving others. So we came to serve others. We came to help create a better world and lift the consciousness. And self-love is not a one-time exercise. That doesn't mean like, I went and got a massage, that's my self-love. Like, no, that's not how it works. This is a constant, everyday, no matter what vibrations are hitting, you jump back in there and you enjoy it. You know it, and you live it every day. Self-love is not being selfish. Selfish is a man-made word to take away energy from you. You can't truly love another person until you love yourself. You need to experience love and that sensuality and juiciness from the inside so you can share it with others. Self-love is not draining, meaning that if you're in love with yourself and you've got yourself filled, you can go and serve others, and you're not pulling up. You're pulling from the universal light when you're serving others. Yes, you're giving it from your heart. You're giving compassion. You're doing it because you're kind and you care, but you're pulling the energy from the universal light and you're sharing that universal light out. You are a spark of this light. So it's important to understand that if you're out there and you're filled with self-love and you're helping other people, you're not going to be drained. Yes, you may be physically tired if you're moving stuff, but being with others should be exhilarating. Feeling that energy come through you and pushing it out should be exhilarating, not draining. And self-love and love for others is not conditional. We need to love freely to all. And forgiveness is when you go through forgiveness for someone who's hurt you, you're cutting the negative cords around that person, not to say they can hurt you again, or you agree with what they did. Totally different subject. But when you're cutting the cords and giving forgiveness and disconnecting any negativity and just giving fully of love, that's the vibration coming down. This is what we're supposed to be filling earth with, is this unconditional love. So self-love, and it's not conditional for ourselves or anybody else. We want to do this. And the more we practice this unconditional self-love, the higher we are in vibration, the easier life gets, the younger you get to be. It's fun. It's fun. We're a magical creator. And self-love is not lonely. When you're filling yourself with love and you're overflowing, you can share it. You can share it with the world. And even if you're physically not with other people all the time, like I live by myself, so it's an empty house a lot, and it's a big house. So that loneliness that could be there, I fill it with this energy. I feel it with bringing in more information. So it's not a lonely job. It's a lot of fun. It's very exhilarating. And self-love is, it's not a job. It's not a job. It's not a sacrifice. It's fun. It's nurturing. So I also look at, well, we'll cover that in a little bit in sacrifice, but we're born with the ability, expectation, the requirement of self-love to complete our mission. We came down here as a spark, a drop of love, the white light, the universal light. We came down here, we were birthed through our parents, and that love was just bombarding us when we first came in. And as we get older and life gets difficult and things happen, that love feeling seems to go down. But if we're keeping that spark alive and nurturing the spark inside of us and always keeping that juicy flame going, then that's not going to be an issue. And the more we keep putting that love through us, self-love and out, the more we stay connected to everyone. So I was listening to, I think it was Sasha Stone. He was on a call a couple of days ago, called The Three Stones, I think, Sasha and a couple other men named Stone. And one of the things he said, which was so deep, it really took me back, was he said there's a universal law that says, in the pain you hold is the love you withhold. And that man, that's deep, because it's true. If you're in pain, that means in that pain, you're withholding love from somebody or something. You're not letting that love, so you're being squeezed off. And there's this concept I try to, even with your intuition, you have this beautiful energetic light. Even just imagine, even if you just see it coming down through your spinal column, this beautiful light coming down through your spinal column. And every time you feel uncomfortable or angry or a negative vibration, that white light that's coming down, it gets squeezed and it gets compacted and it's smaller. And when it gets compacted and it's smaller, that's where we get our uncomfortableness in our physical body. That's where we feel unease in our body. And so when you let go of whatever, maybe you're having a fear, or maybe you're thinking about somebody that's done you wrong, and when you're thinking about it, that big tube of energy, I look at it as a tube, right? Like a big selenite log. But I think of it as when we're in love and we're in that space, it's bigger and it's flowing through us and it's great and we feel the love and it's amazing. But when we start to feel angry or fear, that tube of light coming down inside of us gets smaller and smaller and gets contracted. And when it gets contracted, it's uncomfortable, it's painful. And so when we have a negative vibration going on, it goes down because we are withholding the full length of light that would shoot down on us. It's coming down constantly. It's always there. It's always this rainfall of beautiful energy coming in. But if we're in a negative place, we are the ones constricting this energy and making the energy smaller and smaller and smaller. And when we do that, it's uncomfortable because we're not letting that full love flow through us. I know it's a side one, but the fact is, in the pain you hold is the love you withhold. And I get it because I was teaching this 10 years ago, but I never knew how to use it in those words. So thank you, Sasha. So, the self-love challenge, maybe there are things you could do to really improve and get yourself moving through your life a little faster. But, I like this. Okay, so examples of doing a self-love challenge, canceling something that you're doing, it's out of obligation. Maybe treat yourself to a favorite meal, revisit a childhood hobby, write down 5 things that you're grateful for. I mean, that's something we should be doing every day anyway, grateful, appreciative of. Learn something new to stimulate your brain. It's another thing I believe everybody should be learning every day. Tackle a bad habit that stands in your way. Stretch in your body, get in sync with your body, take a walk in nature to ground yourself. Stop multitasking for one day and just get focused. I don't know if I could do that very easily. I'm so used to multitasking constantly. Do a random act of kindness to feed your soul. This is amazing. I believe random acts of kindness are one of the ways that the world's vibration is going to go up. Set an overdue boundary with someone who's close to you that you've been letting walk on you. Set that boundary. Give yourself an extra hour of sleep. Make some art. Take 24 hours off from social media. Cut your sugar and toxic people from your life. I think we would all love to do that, right? Track how you spend every hour in one day. I think, I used to do that sometimes when I worked at a Fortune 50 company. I would track what I was doing each hour to see how productive I was. And I found it very interesting because I didn't give myself credit for everything because I would forget about some of the things I did throughout the day. So I think that that's a brilliant way to recognize how much you really are doing. Take a dance class, go to a coffee shop, read a book, splurge on a gift for yourself, take a romantic bath. I don't even know what that means. It sounds interesting. Tell someone something you've been too afraid to share. Yeah, that could be interesting. That's a self-love challenge. So now we're getting into a really cool area here. We're going to go through a little bit faster with this, but you're going to get it. It's awesome. So why do some people feel loved and some don't? How can you have a family of several children and 2 or 3 of them feel loved and maybe 2 or 3 don't, or 1 or 2 don't? Like, how does that happen? You got parents that are loving them, feeding them, doing what needs to be done as a parent. They're consistent with all of them. So how do some be happy and some not, right? And we know that everyone is different and that we all have different needs and that we all have these different personalities and we all want different levels of attention. You can tell that from like a baby when a little one, like, put me down and let me go. They just want to go run around. And then there are those other children that want to be cuddled all the time. So you can tell the different need that they have. So, and then we have the different levels of getting in trouble, different levels of attention. And so they all excel differently. But what if they're all treated the same exactly and you love them all? Why do some feel loved and some not feel loved? So it's important to understand that's because we each have a different love language. And we're going to learn just a little bit about the 5 love languages. We'll go through them quickly. But physical touch is it's my love language. I'm a physical touch person. And acts of service. This is where you're helping maybe do grocery shopping or take care of the car, go fill it with the car with gas, or this is where you go out and you help feed the community. It's like you love servicing and taking care of people. Those two are I love those two. Gift giving. Some people love to give gifts or receive gifts. That builds their soul to share in that way. Some people are words of affirmation, telling people how great they are, or being able to share that with other people. And then we have quality time, where sometimes we just want to be together and hang out. So in these 5 love languages, again, words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, acts of service, and receiving gifts, they sound simple, and they're easy to do and to provide for, and they really do. But in this busy world, we have to be committed to take the time and energy to ensure we know our own love language and we know our loved ones' love languages, because we've got to be clear on these things, right? Because why beat around the bush? If you know what's going on, let's talk about it. So when let's say you are a person, or you have let's say a teenage daughter, and her love language is words of affirmation. That's verbal compliments, appreciation, and positive affirmations. Examples are like, I love you, you're amazing, you make me so happy, you're doing a great job, I'm so proud of the way you do your work, I'm so proud of the young woman you're becoming. And you find these things to say, I love you, in different words. And I recognize you study hard for school. I see that you made a good grade on that test. Congratulations. These words help them feel loved. And then we have the next love language, which is quality time. To me, quality time is interesting. It's like the guys hanging out, watching a football game, eating dinner together, going for a walk together, going to a movie. It's just taking just this time to be next to each other, just talk, and maybe sometimes you don't even talk, but that's quality time. And back in when I was a teenager, back in the 70s, quality time for us was dinner. We would sit and talk. My father would say, what did you learn today? Because you need to learn something every day. What did you learn today? We would talk about what happened in the day. We would talk about all these different things. And I don't know if we have that quality time much anymore. So the people who really need the quality time may not have that opportunity with their parents or their friends to have, or even their siblings to have that quality time anymore, because we're so rushed. So that one, I think, is a lot of us kind of have that suffrage. But a third type of love language is receiving gifts. Now, this is an interesting group. They're thoughtful gifts that show care and consideration. So it's not just the receiving, but sometimes they make little gifts and they give you little gifts. Maybe they color something, or they make a magnet, but it's just that little bit of surprise. They love flowers. They love little tchotchkes. So there are people in my life that I've known that have been it's been inspirational. If you just give them a pencil or a flower or some little thing that you randomly found, it just makes them feel loved, and that's okay, because that's their love language, receiving gifts. And then acts of service, which, I think all of us have this in our body, because we came to serve others. We came to help. We came to take our passion and use it to help the world be a better place. So I believe that most of us have acts of service, but for me, it is a love language. It is running the errands or cooking the meal or cleaning the house. So like, my brother's coming to live with me, and I look forward to my acts of service with him. Is I want to cook, I want to feed him. I want to make sure he's healthy. And then he is going to be, out, working on the house and doing little things like that, or doing errands, because we both have that love language. So it's good to recognize that is a love language, not just helping someone out for the favor here and there, but we actually live through this language. And then, of course, there's physical touch. This isn't more than just intimacy with your partner, but this is the actual hugs, holding hands, giving somebody literally a pat on the back. It's kissing, cuddling. It's that love. It's like when the little children are small and they come up on your lap and you're cuddling and hug them. They feel loved in that space. So as adults, we don't lose that. If that's your love language, then that's your love language. And so the physical touch is important to recognize that one. So the question is, who do we share our love language with? And we share it with ourselves because we need to recognize that. But we also have the girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, and wife, which is true, our partner. But then we look further into our mother, father, our son, our daughter, all of our family members, and brother-in-laws, sister-in-laws, all of those things. Then we go a little bit deeper. Our friends, our coworkers, our bosses, our potential clients, our business associates. It's great to understand the love language with these people. And then also we go people at church, people at school, people in our daily lives. And we're at the grocery store I go to. There's a young man there, and I know if I say something to him and I give him words of affirmation, he just glows. He just glows. So it's not that hard to say a little compliment to someone when you see them, and if you know that that's their love language, or you've realized it. So anyone we're around and we communicate with on a regular basis, we need to show respect and be kind, obviously. But everyone in our daily lives we interact with, it's important to know their love language. So, maybe, you have a friend that or someone you see every time you go to the doctor's office, you have a relationship with a receptionist, and you might realize that receptionist loves to get little gifts. So when you go in, you might take them, a flower from your garden, or, I found this stone or this crystal, I thought of you. That makes them feel so good if that's their love language. So it's not hard to do. And then we say, okay, well, why do I want to know all their love languages besides, the common courtesy of just feeling connected? But why is it a big deal? Why do we want to feel loved? We're all different. So what does this mean? We're about connecting. Love is at the highest vibration. It's a connecting energy. So when we have a knowledge of somebody's love languages, we know that their love languages helps the communications, and then we understand their needs and desires, and more effectively, more quickly. Like if I go into my doctor's office and I know that just this little tiny flower will make you smile and make you feel good, then I want to do that because it creates a stronger communication between us. And it improves the understanding, meaning that by understanding your let's just say with your partner's love language, you can better understand their behaviors, their actions that lead to improved relation dynamics. So you may not realize maybe their love language is quality time. And for the last 2 weeks, you haven't taken any night off with them, and you've been busy all of this, and maybe they're feeling a little hurt, and maybe they're pulling back from you, and it will help improve your communication to say, what it is, I know this person needs quality time, and I haven't given him that. I'm going to take 3 hours off, honey. I'm taking 3 hours off on Friday, and I want to go out to dinner with you and just hang out just you and me. They need that if that's their love language. So it improves the understanding of where they may not feel they're being loved purely because of their love language and it not being fulfilled. It creates intimacy with each other, being able to have that connection with them. There's greater satisfaction when a partner feels loved and appreciated in their preferred love language, and then they experience a greater relationship and satisfaction. So when you've got people that know each other's love language, it's funny because you could take two couples that have the same combination of love language, and one couple doesn't know it and they just go about their lives pretending every day is whatever. And you got a couple that does understand each other's love language and they purposefully work on it together. You've got an amazing relationship. This couple will stay in love because they have all this strong communication, this intimacy. They're going to be a much happier couple because of their understanding each other's love languages and providing it, sharing the love language. And then just also by knowing your partner's love language, you can avoid miscommunications and conflicts that arise when you misunderstand each other. So now you could speak in the love language. I realized that you're really upset with me. And then I began to look at it and realize, so you really like it when I go and take care of the things at the grocery store. You really appreciate when I do that. And I haven't been doing any of that. And that's given you an extra burden. And I realized that maybe that's a problem. So you're able to talk it out and you have less conflict because you understand each other at a different level. So love you first, right? You got to love you first. So which one of those, so when you heard these, which one did you react to? Which one did you go, oh, that's me. That's my love language? Because whichever one you reacted to strongly is probably your love language. So we're going to just quickly go through these. There's words of affirmation. I love you. I admire you. I love your smile. I need you. I value your opinion. I appreciate you. You're amazing. You're beautiful. I love being around you. You're powerful. You motivate me. I love your confidence. You are unstoppable. Now, those are awesome words. And there was a time my confidence, it was like, what? I was getting laid off from a Fortune 50 company I had been at for quite a few years and had really helped in a lot of the success of what was going on there. And I found out through intuition, little signs, that I realized I was getting laid off. And I was never going to give the benefit of any kind of satisfaction to the people who were laying me off, because they were doing immoral things and trying to make me live in that mainstream of it. And I refused. So I knew I was getting laid off. I wasn't upset about it. That's a whole set of circumstances that made it even actually to my benefit. But going into that meeting, I refused to give any ability for them to gloat or take advantage of me. So I went into the bathroom and I talked into the mirror and I said, you got this. You're a moral standing person. You don't believe in what their ethics are. Anyway, you were already starting your own business. This is a benefit for you. I went in the bathroom. I was in there probably not even 5 minutes. But when I came out, there was nothing that was going to rock my confidence. I went into my office and sat down and proceeded to be laid off with a smile on my face and said, okay, well, thank you. Let me get my stuff packed. I'll be out as soon as possible. So it was a really interesting dynamic, because those words of affirmation, when I realized, I brought myself back up immediately. And it's a great way to live, let me tell you. So words of affirmation, we all need to practice that on ourselves. And if you've got a loved one that's their language, you really want to make sure you're purposely giving them love every day through that language. Quality time. I mean, with yourself, quality time to yourself is prayer, meditation, cooking, resting, writing, studying, creating, hobbies, whatever, examining yourself priorities. These are your quality time to yourself. And with others, the quality time is not that hard. If you can just put aside the fact that you're there for them. And at 3 hours, a couple hours, right? So sitting on the couch, watching a game, going to a movie, taking a walk, going shopping together. One of my favorites, especially with kids, is hanging out at a pet store. Even though I don't want to take one home, hanging out at a pet store can be fun with kids. Maybe cooking together, playing games, doing crafts or hobbies. So this quality time things can be mutually fun for both people. But if your love language is quality time and you're not getting it, you will find a sadness in that. You'll see this person being not happy about it. And then we have the physical touch, which again is not necessarily intimacy, but it's very much included in it, but holding hands and hugging, lots of hugs. Us touch people, we want to be hugged. My son, every once in a while, just come over and if just take his finger, just rub it on my arm. He knows that touch it means so much. And we hug a lot because he was a hug person too. So we hug each other. And some people think we're weird because, we just hug each other all the time. But when you have the touch love language, taking care of your physical body, a pat on the back, literally all these things can make a huge difference for you feeling loved. And then of course, if you have acts of service, which technically, I think we all probably have a piece of this, because acts of service, acts of kindness, doing random acts, helping others, that's all in that category. So it could be, working with like community services groups to do things, to run errands for people, or to sit with people with dementia so their loved ones can take a break. Helping somebody get their laundry done, or taking somebody out for errands that doesn't have a car, or maybe someone who's elderly needs a ride to the doctor's office. Those are all acts of service. Those are all acts of kindness that we do to help other people. And, doing laundry, feeding animals, maybe your neighbor's leaving and you babysit their animals while they're gone. Or if you live in one of those places where that white stuff comes out of the sky and lands everywhere, maybe you want to go help shovel somebody else's driveway. I don't live there anymore. So I could say that. So, take somebody to the doctor. It's any kind of services to help somebody make their life easier is found, especially for me, that's an act of service of love to me. And just like my brother's the same way. So living together is going to be good because we both have that feeling of love. And it's great. It's good when you know each other's love language. And then of course, gift giving. And then I didn't put this on here, but obviously giving yourself a little gift, buying yourself a coffee mug or doing something like that, that's great. We do those little random things, right? But also the receiving the gifts, those people also love giving the gifts. They love to give you a gift. My mother used to come up with these little trinkets, these little magnets. She would make these little hobbies, and she would give them away. And she always seemed to have something in her purse, and would say to someone, "Oh, I was thinking of you, and I bought this for you." And she would give them this little thing, right? So I observed her doing that my whole life, and I kept thinking, well, that's kind of random. That's kind of weird. But no, now that I'm older, I realize, no, her love language was giving gifts. She loved receiving little things, and she loved giving things. So it's not that hard. It's not that hard once you understand what you're looking at. So this is how a family with a bunch of children, some children may like the gifts that may be saying something to them, and others might want your quality time. Some of them, maybe they just need all those hugs. So once you go in and you observe your children, or you observe your parents or siblings, and you see like, wow, I didn't realize that's why they get sad, because I don't spend time with them. Like, you can begin to figure these things out. So that is the 5 love languages. I really highly encourage everybody to understand this. And then when you're a couple and you understand your love language and you understand their love language, you're going to have an amazing relationship with these people, because they're going to understand each other so deeply, and they're going to love each other and make it obvious. And then, of course, we have, you got to fill your cup. You got to keep your cup filled in order to fill the cup of other people. That means your energy, your health, your vibration, your happiness, your joy. You've got to keep doing that so you can now give it out without taking away from yourself. So you're pulling it in, pushing it out, pulling it in, and pushing it out. So filling the cup of others is a blessing. It's a blessing. And so we need to keep filling our cup up, making sure we're full so we can continue to bless other people. So we want to keep the cup full. So compassion, which is what we're about, right? Compassionate listeners. When you're a compassionate listener, you're going to figure out what somebody's love language is. You're going to figure out what that piece is that will help them feel validated and be heard. But compassion can never be overrated. Compassion is huge. But compassion is the heartfelt emotion. It's a heartfelt kindness, just a love that you want to share with somebody else. And you're giving of your heart. You're giving of the fullness of your heart, which is different than sacrifice. Because when we're doing sacrifice, it's a negative vibration, first of all, because we're taking something from ourselves and we're sacrificing and giving over. We're actually pulling something out and handing it away. We don't need to sacrifice anything. We use compassion. We fill in the love and we push the love out. And that is not a sacrifice. Sacrifice is a low vibration because you're giving someone something. And it's not to say that, we do go above and beyond for other people, but we do it out of this energy from the inside out. We don't do it by taking part of our energy and giving it away. And that's why even when I'm teaching people to do Reiki, and after they're done doing Reiki, they say they're tired. Well, I say, well, then you're not doing it right, because you're supposed to be pulling it from the universal energy. And then yes, it comes through and it gets your vibration, and then you push it back out to them. You're not taking my vibration and putting in you. So we're bringing it down and we're placing it out. It's the same thing when the sun is up. Yes, shining through now. So the compassion is important. We give freely of the compassion all day long. And we wanted to keep it in that positive vibration. So I want you just to remember, this is not a sacrifice. This is compassionate, open, kind-hearted loving. It's a beautiful, full heart emotion. And then the self-love, man, I hope you get this. You are a divine spark of light. You are in a place where your divine creator has you, and you're out there serving the world. You are a representation of your creator. You're a part of the creator. And you have, give more and more and more of yourself. You're going to feel the self-love and the relationship with your Heavenly Father, or your energy coming out. You're just going to feel so amazing. But first, you must learn about you and all your amazing abilities. We're all talented. We're all gifted. We all came here to give something. So if you let go of others' expectations and you it releases you from their burdens, which is a kind of an ironic way of putting it. But if I let go of your expectations of me, then I'm releasing me from your burdens, because that's what You don't have the right to tell me how to live my life, or nor will I let you tell me how to live my life, because you need to go live your life and I live my life, and I live through the information and the creator, and I produce, right? So you don't have to listen to others, and you don't have to take on their burdens. When you become so in love with yourself, you become an example to other people. So as you shine your light, you say to them, look, I'm shining my light. You can shine your light. You give them permission to also shine their light. And when you're confident and you're giving back and you're ready to serve, it's such a great feeling, this juicy, sensual feeling of giving. So self-love is a journey, not a destination. You're never going to reach the peak where you say, okay, I don't got to do anything anymore, because it's a feeling of love coming through you and out, and it's constant. It's constant. You pull it in at different paces and you share it with different people, but it's constant. So each path leads to different discoveries and different, ways to travel through this journey that we're in. But self-love is important. So remember, breathing it in and spreading it out. And that's starting with self-love. And then we breathe it in and then we share it. So you've learned a lot about self-love today. I just want to say that, thank you for watching this recording. It's again, class 104 of the Compassionate Listener series. So please join us for more metaphysical teachings, energy medicine, and energy psychology, the spirituality sciences, because that's what this is all about. And Soul Solutions is the name of the company, Soul Solutions SXM. SXM stands for St. Martin. But Soul Solutions is about finding your passion, expanding your consciousness, and advancing your enlightenment. So this is about bringing it in, expanding it, just knowing who you are and how you show up in the world. And I want you to remember these positive words. It's your life, it's your energy, and you are not a victim. Okay, so I'm going to stop the share screen here now. And I just want to leave you with these beautiful words. We came to serve. We came to create this beautiful, to support and give our energy to this beautiful earth. And we each will feel much more fulfilled and loving and a part of everything if we stop looking at our fears and really just represent, like, what's my joy? What's the love I have? How do I expand this? And once we get into this peacefulness and this powerfulness, nothing can stop us. So self-love for all ages means when those kids are in that 1 to 7 range, we want to make sure we're loving them. We know their love language. We can talk with them in all these different ways. We treat them with respect, because that's the next generation coming up. And if they can get into, the teenage years, the adulthood years, and carry that confidence with them, the world's just going to be a better place. So thank you for your time. Namaste, my friends. No matter what you do today, I pray that you do it with self-love, because we're all in this together and we're all making a better world. And namaste, love and light, actual light coming through right now. Have a great day. Thank you.